welcome back to Talk Radio, Talk TV. I'm Danielle Nichols. This is Andre Walker, and we have a very special guest in the studio.
Yes, that's right. It's fair to say the man that offended Piers Morgan more than anybody else I can think of is in the studio with us. He's one of the biggest TikTok stars. He's controversial. He's been in court a couple of times recently for some of the pranks he's been up to. But it's Mizzy. Mizzy, welcome.
Hello, world.
How are you?
I'm good.
He's moody.
He's a bit moody.
Why are you upset?
Because I have a message
What's
to
your
the whole
message?
world. So you see you guys right now, you're using a script in it. You're basically working a job at the end of the day. No script.
No, it's not a script.
No, we don't use scripts. Look,
I have a script here.
Oh,
Go on.
Yeah.
he does have a script.
I'm a man with a script. I'm an actor at the end of the day.
So,
I'm an
Right,
actor
go
with
for
a
it.
script.
Okay.
And I have something I want to say.
Go for it.
This is a message to everyone. And to get where I am right now to spread this message, I needed to do things in a different way. In a way a lot of people wouldn't agree on. I have remorse, and I know when to take accountability for my actions in my personal life, when I'm Bacari, not when I'm showing you Mizzy on the internet. I don't condone what I do, nor do I tell anyone to repeat any of my actions. People need to understand and learn to detach social media from real life. As social media is just one big game. And Mizzy, this online persona I created, is literally social proof that society is weak and that the public is manipulated by media and swayed away from the truth so easily. Attention is seen as the purest form of generosity, and Mizzy is exactly what is wrong with this new online modern day society. You're all capitalizing on Mizzy right now. This interview literally has Mizzy on the headlines, bro, and you're making money over my appeal to the public, whether it's good or bad. Think about it. The only reason I've been making news and headlines for so long is because I'm young, black and doing something different. And the mainstream media think they can use me as an example, put me on TV so I can make a fool out of myself and appeal to this stereotype. It's a simple distraction technique used by the mainstream media to divert attention from the real problems in this country. If I wasn't the TikTok terror or done what I needed to do, would I be on this show right now or even on Piers Morgan? It's all propaganda at the end of the day. All these online personalities have had their own fair share of controversies, worse than mine even, and still have a platform, and that's because we give it to them with any type of attention. I'm just a teen from these rough areas. As journalists, it's your job to be highlighting the misery of people in this country and figuring out what their causes are instead of bringing some TikToker that makes silly pranks onto your show for views and ratings. It's all about painting a picture in your mind. Mainstream media have been doing it for years, and they get their paycheck by writing numerous articles, posting controversial videos, and twisting stories to change the audience's narrative. The movement is real.
Okay, Mizzy, there's loads of stuff that's to unpick in that. And the first question I would ask you is, do you feel that the reason you've done all this is because you've been stereotyped based on your working class background, based on coming from Hackney, and based on being a young black man in London?
You can say that, yes, because there's been many other pranksters that do worse things than me. There's guys that are doing, like, I don't even know what I can say on here, but there's guys that are doing rape pranks out here, and they still have a platform to share their message, and I don't understand that, because I have an actual message I'm willing to share.
I have seen some bad pranks.
I watched one thing. I watched one thing that you did, which genuinely did get me thinking. Because I think you're a clever guy, and I think actually there is a message behind it. I genuinely believe that. You know, when you walked into that very wealthy person's house, you can apologise all day, but part of the shock of it was a young black man walking into a wealthy person's house. That's what I took from it, and I thought that potentially you were attempting to highlight racism by that prank.
Literally, essentially, in a nutshell, that's what it is. Because that's what I was trying to mention on Piers Morgan. That's why I mentioned the black card, race card, whatever you might want to say. I was trying to say that if a white person done that and called it a prank, made it a trend and whatever, it wouldn't have gone this far. It wouldn't have been on Piers Morgan. It wouldn't have been news headlines. Press wouldn't be outside my house.
Because
all of that stuff.
Okay, well, should we have a look at
hang on a second. Before we do that, if you and me had walked into somebody's house and gone, we think that, is this the place where the study group is? They wouldn't have been as shocked, would they? I genuinely believe that. But anyway, it did solicit a response from Piers Morgan, who, it's fair to say, Mizzy, didn't like you quite as much as I did. Here's what's happened on the Piers Morgan show.
Tell me about your life. What justifies this? What's happened to you that makes you think you're justified in doing this?
What do you mean, tell me about my life?
Well, you said you didn't know anything about your life. Tell me about your life.
Because I'm trying to get onto you because I'm black. Because I guarantee...
Because you're black?
Person, yeah, I guarantee if
I don't give a damn about your skin colour.
Really?
No.
Piers.
Why would I care what colour your skin is?
Really?
I just think you're an idiot.
Oh, thank you. I think you're an idiot too.
That's fine. You're perfectly entitled to.
It's very interesting that you say that, though, because I think if a young lad walked into my house as confidently and as brazenly as you did, without like asking the lady in the front garden, is this where the study group is or whatever, I would be nervous still. Because I would assume that someone coming into my house where my kids were, my assumption would be that you wanted to take something from me, like my car keys or anything like that. That's what I would be nervous about.
But isn't that also a commentary on the fact that young people have a bad reputation?
That's
so it's not just the.
That's what Mizzy is trying to represent. Like there's been many other Mizzys before. Mizzy's an online social media persona, like I'm trying to portray.
But do you think it's okay to frighten people in the way that you frighten people? Because what I will say is this: you're not picking on, like when you nicked the dog, you didn't pick on a big strapping bloke, did you, Mizzy? You picked on an old lady.
Even that situation got out of perspective. In real life, I was gonna take the dog anyway and give it back regardless, because the dog took our chips. We're sitting in the middle of the park, me and my friends, and she was like to us.
Okay, well that's interesting you say that though, because I wanted to chat to you about that. Let's have a look at the dog clip.
Hello.
Hi.
You got a nice dog.
Sorry?
You got a nice dog.
She's lovely, yes.
Gang, whole lot of gang.
Anyone that I know around where we live, if you've got a nice dog, everyone's really nervous about this because dogs are getting nicked. That does happen because they're worth so much money that people's dogs are being stolen, and it's upsetting, disturbing, and just downright
and
wrong.
You have that emotional attachment to a lot of your
because it's your dog,
well.
and people, you know, they're part of people's family. But what? So what? It's interesting you say you were with your mates, because is it fair to say that when you're a young lad and do you think you're being goaded on by your mates to do things that you maybe
fully know
do?
that I'm my own person in it, and I would do what I want to do. So if I didn't want to do it, I wouldn't have done it. But when you're with your friends and you're young and you're just hyped up and you're living in the moment, you get sometimes you get a hold of yourself, innit? And you don't know what you're doing at the time. Everyone makes mistakes, and when you're young, you make the most mistakes.
And one of the things that you did say you made a mistake on was the walking into the house, which we alluded to before. Let's have a quick look at that.
James? Come to the front door right now, please.
James?
Hi.
You man, come.
Hello, James.
We need to speak to James.
James. Come on, come on.
It doesn't matter how you wrap that up. If someone just walked into my house like that, I would be scared. I'd be scared, and especially if my kids were in there.
I mean, it happened to me once. I remember once I used to smoke cigars in my house. How pretentious does that sound?
Oh, wow.
I smoked cigars in my house. I left the door open, and a couple of guys walked in who thought there was a house party. They'd got the wrong address. It is very intimidating. I mean, Mizzy, you apologised to that family, didn't you?
Did you apologise?
Yes, I did.
I
went there the next day on my own accord. Because like I said, social media is like a facade. Like, it's literally a game. Yeah. On my own accord, I went to the house the next day and apologised and took accountability for my actions. I could have recorded the apology, could have posted it for clout, more clout, whatever. Internet. It's not about the internet. It goes.
What do you say when you apologise, Missy? What did she say?
She was like, we had a conversation. She was telling me about her distress and how like she had kids in the house. At the time when I was doing it, I didn't see that there was a kid there until James mentioned, "Oh, we got kids," and I left straight away because I have a child myself.
Mizzy, can I just ask you one question? You've come in here, you seem like a nice bloke to me, but you seem upset about something. Do you feel that people have mistreated you?
Yes, you can say that, but it's all just part of a bigger plan.
And how do you feel people have mistreated you?
Because of the way I portrayed myself is essentially my fault at the end of the day, but it's all part of a plan.
I mean, the reality is, you've said that you're somebody who understands the consequence of your actions, and I think there's certainly some truth in that, because of course the consequence of your actions are that you become a megastar. There's no doubt about it. Young people all over this country know who you are, but at the same time, you've got to recognise the significant harm you've done, because this is effectively bullying people on TV. You know, you're clearly an intelligent guy. You're an intimidating guy when you give the sort of look or whatever. But look, you know, when you steal somebody's dog, when you walk into somebody's house, those people are frightened. And by the way, you didn't vault a Jewish person. You pushed a guy into the road. And that, I have to say, is something that if I was just stood at the bus stop and I got shoved into the road by somebody, it wouldn't be about black or white, young or old. I'd have been shoved into the road. I'm very upset. I just wonder whether you are part of a culture that is so selfish, that says that, you know, what makes me famous, what gets me into the newspapers, what gets me on TV is more important than the suffering that causes me to get there.
could you have pranked your mates and not been pranking the public? So that if you can do your pranks, you can have your ideas, but you do it with your mates.
I mean, look, you're staring at me, but I think it's a legitimate question, isn't it?
I've got a question for you, Mizzy. Now, do you think that social media itself has pushed you to sort of make this point in itself? I mean, I know you're talking about anti-racism. You're effectively what I would say you're attempting to be an anti-racism campaigner, right? You're essentially trying to tell people that racism has meant that you have experienced a particular kind of backlash that other people haven't. Would you say that's right?
Essentially, yes.
Are you, hang on a second, are you somebody who will only answer questions if they go your way?
No.
Okay, so in that case, can you answer my question about whether you believe that you are part of a narcissistic society that is willing to take the benefit from notoriety but not willing to accept the damage that's done in the creation of that notoriety?
I've accepted the damage I've done. I went to prison for a couple of days and whatnot. I literally accept, like I'm saying, Mizzy and Bacari are two different. Bacari's the mastermind behind Mizzy. In real life, I know what Mizzy's doing is going to cause real life consequences and actions. I've been on tag. I'm on tag for a year right now. I understand that it's going to cause real life problems, but that's not the bigger. There's a bigger issue at hand here. Why am I even here? We're actually talking for a while. Why am I here? You could be talking about anything else. Train strikes, world hunger, anything.
Because you've caused a lot of people to be very upset. Yeah. That's why you're here, and that's why you're so famous.
And there is a real concern.
Because you've caused a lot of people.
Let's just be clear. There is a real concern here that social media is projecting people to the top who actually are behaving in a way that's unacceptable in our society. Look, if you're attempting to make a protest, make a protest. I understand that. You saw me debate with Animal Rebellion a second ago about the fact that they should be holding placards rather than attempting to stop the Epsom Derby. My worry, and it is a real worry, is that somebody like you who's clever, somebody like you who's able, somebody like you who has access to social media and is capable of doing all sorts of things, is instead being pushed into the notoriety of criminality in order to get where you are in society. I think it's really dangerous, and I think that whether you yourself are a good or bad person, what you represent is very, very bad.
And that's the whole point of it. What Mizzy represents is very, very bad. It's a social media persona. I'm showing you guys.
But remember that is you.
You're talking about social media. Yes, of course. That message at the start was part of the plan. Like, I don't need to speak more further on what anything.
So you now have a platform.
The slight problem is when you talk about yourself in the third person. Remember, both of these people are you. So
I know this at the end of the day. I'm not saying this. I'm saying that social media and real life are different things.
When you turn around and go, I accept that what Mizzy does is very bad. I accept that Mizzy has upset people. I accept that Mizzy's guilty of criminality. It's literally you, right? It's literally you. Therefore, what you are basically saying is you are doing something that I've seen so many times in our modern society.
So many times. This is what I'm trying to show you guys. It's a cycle. Like, literally, it's a formula. Social media is a game in itself.
That's right.
You guys are playing the game. And I'm proving it right now. I'm proving it.
And you were successful at it.
I don't have to prank ever again. I don't have to prank ever again. The media has called me a prankster.
You've proved that by being narcissistic, by going on the attack, by pushing people into a road, by invading somebody's house, by upsetting your mum, who apparently doesn't even speak to you, by upsetting your sisters.
See, that's because me and my mum still speak now. It's what the media portrays, bro.
You literally told Piers.
I told Piers Morgan, and obviously ever since then. See, even that, let's even talk about that now. Forget everything else. Let's talk about that. My mum has never spoken to press.
So are you willing?
You're saying that's made up?
Yes, that's made. Oh my days, you can even. That's made. I can call my mum right now. I can call my mum right now. My mum doesn't. Yes, that's made up. My mum don't speak to media. She literally stepped out of her house, and a guy took a picture of her. And then
I saw an interview where you literally said
racism right there, though. What is that, bro?
I saw an interview where you literally said that your mum's not speaking to you and your sisters don't like everything they do that you do, but they still are speaking to you. Were you lying?
No, at the time, no. And it doesn't matter what I was not speaking to my mum about.
You pulled me
and my mum are fine now.
You pulled me up on you pulled me up on an important question, because the minor detail of your mum used to not speak to you, but now she does. Okay, so look.
So this is today's mail.
Do you mind if I finish this question? The point is this, that what you have proved successfully is that if you go out and you behave really badly, if you go out and you waste the skills that you've got, your intelligence, your ability to dominate social media, if you use that that by upsetting people, offending people, stealing, throwing people into the road, threatening people. If you do all that, you will make it to the top. You've proved that successfully. But doesn't it also mean that you've done something really bad that's going to encourage other young people to follow your lead? I tell you what annoys me about you. You're clearly a nice bloke, right? But the reality is that what you are doing here, there's going to be 1,000 young people who go out shoving people into the street, walking into people's houses, stealing people's dogs, because they don't have the intelligence.
But
and they
this
don't
has
have
been done before. This has been done before. I am the first person that has done this. It's just a formula.
Let me finish. This ain't the BBC, baby. Right, there's other people who are going to go out and follow your lead. And the reality is, I say to you, you seem like a nice bloke. I'll even buy you a pint after this. But shame on you for encouraging people of lower intelligence than you to behave in this fashion. It's not a movement. It's a grotesque lump of narcissism. Is it not?
The movement is real.
What is the movement?
What is the movement? What are you trying to achieve?
We outside in the districts every time. We outside means being outside with your inner self and not letting anyone tell you nothing, because no one can tell you anything. You are your own person at the end of the day.
So the movement is basically, don't give a toss about criminality. Go out, do what you want. Don't get a proper job. No. Don't get a proper education. What you can be, you can be like Mizzy. You can wander around, jumping in people's houses, stealing people's dogs, pushing Jewish people into the street, threatening to kill people. Who cares? What does it matter? You can go to prison for a couple of days, even though you have the intelligence to never need to go to prison. You can go to prison for a couple of days, pay the fine, offend your family. Who gives a toss?
The UK laws are weak. The UK laws are weak. The UK laws are weak. Simple as.
Well, they can't do it weak because you're now being punished for what's happened. Do you know what? I saw a clip when you came out of the prison, and I think I saw a different guy, because I think you. I think we have that clip. I think you do genuinely have remorse.
You saw a different guy because I got cloned.
No, I think we saw someone who was upset.
At least now we know the prisons are.
Well, the truth is, the way I see about it, these guys of your age doing a hell of a lot worse, and it might not be on TikTok, and it might not be for clicks and for likes, but there are. This is you being released now.
How was prison?
How was prison? There's nothing to glorify about, but obviously because of the position I'm in, a lot of people do know me anyway. So when I went there, people were coming up to me, just supporting me, saying, "Oh, this, that, and the other, like I'm a fan of you."
Oh, so no, hang on a second, Reem. I'm not being funny, but for a guy of your intelligence, the accolade of being the most popular lag on D-Wing is hardly. It's hardly like.
It's literally. I'm not. And like I said, I don't glorify it.
Can I ask you another question, Mizzy? Mizzy, on a serious note, are you currently in receipt of benefits?
Yes.
So actually, you're working and receiving benefits at the same time. Are you a benefits fraudster?
No.
So what is your justification for saying you're not a benefits fraudster?
So you don't work at all?
Hang on a second. TikTok's a business.
No, but I don't work.
Okay, how much do you earn off TikTok?
I don't have a TikTok account. I've been banned.
Okay.
I don't earn money from social media.
So whilst you're working, hang on. Whilst you're working for TikTok, making money, were you claiming benefits at that point?
No, because I was under 18.
Okay.
Shut down, simple.
Shut down, simple.
It was a question.
Mizzy, I've got a question for you. So I know you've spoken a lot about social media and how that's impacted you, and that you want to sort of get a lot of this attention on social media yourself. Do you think that you doing this on social media will encourage other people to commit crimes that potentially could cause a lot of damage? And by damage, I mean it could cause somebody to, be incredibly injured or something like that. Do you think you've encouraged that kind of behaviour? And he's not answering the question. Do you think
I don't understand this whole...
Do you want to be like a good
Hey, no, hang on a second. You can do that to me. You're not doing it to a guest. You stare at another guest again, and I'm going to personally remove you. I'm not taking the mick. You glared at her in a threatening fashion. You do that, I'll drag you out by the hair, and you can be as hard as you pretend you are. You apologise to her right now, or you're leaving.
I respect you, but I'm done here.
Good riddance to bad rubbish. Threatening guests does not happen on my show under any circumstances. Reem, I'm very sorry, but the way he glared at you is not acceptable. Andre. We never should have had him on the show. I didn't even want him here. I think the guy's a complete and total fool. And the fact that I attempted to have a sensible interview with an idiot like that is absolutely disgusting.
Get him out of here.
Security, get the security from downstairs and get rid of him. Get rid of him, for Christ's sake.
Do you know what?
Get rid of him.
He's angry.